Welcome to the Beachwood Business Compass podcast, where our mission is simple: to connect local businesses with the tools, insights, and opportunities that they need to thrive. By sharing success stories, offering expert advice, and spotlighting community resources, we aim to empower Beachwood businesses to achieve growth, overcome challenges, and unlock new possibilities. Today, I'm joined by Aaron Marcovy, Chief Business Development Officer for NOPEC. Thank you for being here.
It is a very, very big pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, thank you. So NOPEC is a nonprofit, right? And the organization is basically formed to be an aggregate for the gas and electric industry to support residents and businesses here within Beachwood, but multiple communities across Northeast Ohio, right? Could you tell me just a little bit more about NOPEC?
Sure, absolutely. And thank you for having me here today. That's very exciting. NOPEC stands for the Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council, although we are now outgrown Northeast Ohio and we're statewide. We represent 250 communities and growing. So we have communities as far south as Athens, Ohio, Springfield, Ohio as a member. Our original footprint 25 years ago began in Northeast Ohio, so there's a big saturation of them here. We are a council of governments, so we're a government agency, but we operate on a very call it public service basis. So what we do is we aggregate, we educate, and we advocate. In the aggregation side, we aggregate together residents and small businesses to be able to pool the purchasing power of all of those various participants for electricity and natural gas. We educate people by making sure that they are well aware of how they consume energy. And we also advocate. So we have a very strong presence, particularly in Columbus. We also make sure that we do our absolute utmost for consumer protection to ensure that if there are rate increases, that they are fair rate increases, appropriate rate increases, and that the rules of the road are being observed by everybody that's playing in the energy space currently.
And I think it's more and more important. There's so many things that come at you as a consumer, both for residents and businesses. And NOPEC really helps you kind of dive through some of that and understand, because it's an automatic opt-in in most cases, unless you determine to opt out. And so you just have that flexibility to be able to go to the NOPEC website, get a little bit more education and resources around what is truly impacting your overall utility bills. And there were a couple programs that I came across on the residential side was like an Energy Star program. And then you've got also some programs that talk about Rewiring America, correct? Are some of those still active and available?
Yeah, we give a lot of educational resources to people that want to make their homes a little more efficient. Please do go to our website for anybody hearing this, and you'll get all sorts of different tips and resources available to be able to do that. We also have, unlike a lot of other aggregators, we have a very nice plethora of choices for people. So a lot of times if you are in a community that has default opt-in aggregation, you have only one choice. You have one price. NOPEC offers 7 different choices, and there's no penalties or fees to be able to move from one to the other, whether you're a small business or whether you're a resident. So sometimes people might say to themselves, well, I know I'm going to have a much higher usage for electricity during the summer. They go on the NOPEC website and they can see that, well, from where I am right now, it looks like the 12-month is a good choice for me, or it looks like our standard program that's going to go for a certain duration of time is the better choice for me. And with one phone call, they can manage to get a hold of a real live person and make a switch from one program to the other without any kind of hassle.
Oh, that's fantastic. And no fees associated with switching or anything like that?
No fees associated. And I will say that Ohio is an energy choice state, and we're very big fans of that. If somebody does find another deal out there, now we're very competitively priced. But I checked just yesterday, there were 129 different offers out there on the government website, on the state-run Apples to Apples website. People are perfectly free to take a look at them. Now, I spend a little time as a paralegal so I can read all the fine print, but I'll be honest with you, I don't have that kind of time, to be able to comb through all 129 different offers out there. So I'm a NOPEC customer myself. I really enjoy these, kind of set it and forget it. And I have a high degree of trust being an employee. I can see that we're really doing an awful lot to make sure that the price is competitive. Is that to say that there's not maybe one or two prices out there that, for a month might be an advantage? Yeah, possibly. But, for my money, the time that it takes to sort through all of that, I'm very glad I'm a NOPEC customer. Let me put it that way.
Absolutely. And the way that the structures run and put into place and the overseeing that goes along with that, you don't necessarily have that when you kind of go out on your own on some of these other.
As a government agency, you're not going to find a whole lot of other for-profit companies that are subject to sunshine laws. All of our stuff is very transparent. We're very open about it, and we over-communicate in many ways, to be able to let people know what's out there.
Yeah. So. And from a business perspective, there's really a lot of resources there to support business as well. I know I actively speak on a regular and consistent basis with both building owners and businesses about the financing mechanisms that you have in place with STEP and PACE and some of the other programs that you have to support energy efficiency in general. Could you talk a little more about those?
Sure. May I make a shameless plug?
Yeah.
If you're a business owner in a NOPEC community and you own your building, and you think that your bill might be a little bit too high or think that you need a new roof or you need new windows, we have financing for you. We have below market, very advantageous financing, and we have a couple of programs that can help people both big and small. All of these programs are geared towards small businesses, and that's deliberate because we realize that if you are building a stadium or a skyscraper, chances are that you don't need quite so much of a leg up. You probably have people that are sussing out the very best financing that American financial systems have to offer. The typical small business, the restaurant, the laundromat, the light manufacturer, they don't have all those advantages. So we exist to try to help our small business customers. So those programs are, we have, as you mentioned, our STEP program, which is the Savings Through Efficiency program. That is up to $125,000 of a loan for 10 years, no more than 5% interest. We put a cap on that. So that's a below market interest rate. And that can be spent on things like, as I mentioned, roof, windows, electrical systems, HVAC. HVAC's a big one. We see a lot of that. So that people you have also used it as gap financing if they have other financing that's worked out. So that's a very versatile program, and the underwriting is more or less what you would expect for a small business walking into a bank. It's a pretty easy process. The other program that's very popular is called PACE, Property Assessed Clean Energy. There's other people out there that do PACE lending. We're one of them. We're a little bit unusual in that we are an agency the size that we are, and we do PACE, but it's with some intent. And these dollars can go up to $1 million for a building. And the very unique thing about it is the repayment mechanism, unlike the other program or unlike an SBA loan or something like that, where a small business would repay it every month. The PACE mechanism is we basically make, this is an oversimplification, but we basically make a deal with the building owner, with the city, and with the county. And we say, we, NOPEC, are going to loan $1 million to this building, or $500,000. I think our actual average deal size is about $450,000. So this is right in the wheelhouse of your typical, restaurant type place. We make this deal where we make a loan. They do the work on the property. There's a bit of a grace period there so that they can make sure that the business is still being productive. And then they make repayments through the taxation system. So they get a special tax bill. And this is important for a couple of reasons. First of all, we have these same parameters in place where it's under 5%. So that's great, to be able to do that. Secondly, the costs of doing that, the closing costs are embedded in the deal. So the goal here is that the business owner doesn't have to go into their own pocket to be able to get access to this financing. And then the third thing is this is off-book debt. In a sense, because it's not debt, it's a special tax assessment. So there's certain tax advantages of being able to have the equity put in the building, your asset, your building immediately appreciates value that you don't necessarily need to list. Now it's a liability on your semi-annual tax bill.
But you're able to essentially carry it out over a longer period of time.
Exactly. Yes, and your assets improved without without having to mark it as a debt in your liability column. So there's, again, we're kind of getting into the weeds. Is extraordinarily nerdy stuff, but it makes it work really well.
Yeah.
All of these things are predicated by having an engineer come into the building and say what would work for an energy efficiency thing versus what wouldn't work. And we realized that small businesses were going out. They needed some help to be able to figure out how to navigate. We identified over 160 different firms across the country, across the state of Ohio alone that do these kind of energy audits. We put out an RFP. We do not endorse them specifically, but we are under MOU with them so that we selected 9 as our preferred partner network. So if you go to our website, you can see those 9 different firms, give them a call, and they'll help move very quickly to be able to get an energy audit done. And completely separate from that, we also started an energy audit fund that helps to pay for those energy audits as well. So there's grant dollars that are available to your small businesses so long as you're in a NOPEC community.
And I know being in a community where we have a number of, aging buildings and a number of newer buildings, there's always some component of energy efficiency that generally can be identified within. And I think sometimes people just assume it's going to be LED lights that are going to be a consideration in there. But when you really get down into the inner workings of these commercial buildings and even manufacturing facilities, there's really a lot more opportunity to be able to reap some good cost savings measures based on a little ROI, or an investment in the ROI. Yeah.
It's never the sexiest thing, but if you do, as a business owner, if you do insulation, if you are going to be redoing your roof anyway, and you select certain roofing materials that have a higher thermal insulation value, the percentage of increase of cost that you're looking at is so almost immediately eclipsed by the benefit of it. We had a small building. It was probably, about 4,500 square feet. And they did their energy audit. They borrowed money from us. They did roof, they did insulation, they did windows, and they did HVAC. With all of those things based on the pricing that they were currently getting for their energy consumption, they predicted that it was less than a 4-year payback period. Well, you're borrowing money from us for 10 years. I mean, you're going to see upside real quick. About
and
that.
One of the things that we've put into place here within the city of Beachwood is we have put into place a revolving loan fund. And a component of that is supporting commercial revitalization. As a part of that, if they have a new company that's coming into that building, then that revitalization is taking place to be able to enable that new tenant to come in. You have some potential new payroll coming along with that. Some of those could even be considered forgivable loans associated with some of that, some of the investment that's being made into that property. So I think there are opportunities to be able to couple some financing
100%.
That really makes it make sense for the commercial property owner to look and explore at how to take advantage of some of those opportunities to get that return on investment back in an appropriate fashion.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. And overall within the NOPEC community, there's also other opportunities where you work collectively with communities. I know here within the city of Beachwood, we've been fortunate to receive some grant dollars that have enabled us to move forward with a pilot, one of the first pilot projects here in the state of Ohio for solar lighting. So we have about 27 solar lights that were installed as a part of that project, and we're continuing to explore and monitor how those lights are affecting overall street lighting within the community. And in the past, we've also used that grant funding to be able to support the investment in LED lighting across all of our municipal facilities, City Hall, our fire, police, and public works department. So it's been a great partnership with NOPEC, and we look forward to continuing to find ways to explore these sustainability measures within our community with some of those benefits and resources. Are there any other things that you have on your website that are really unique to business owners or other other things that we should explore or consider?
Sure. Well, and as far as the NEC grant program, the NOPEC Energized Community Program, I really appreciate you guys being sort of in the vanguard of some of the newer ways of using those dollars. I've never met a taxpayer, myself included, who wouldn't want the energy bill for the city municipal streetlights or the municipal load to go down. Every taxpayer wants that. And that's exactly what these dollars go towards, is trying to make city operations a little more efficient. That's the whole point. As far as other programs, it's a fairly new division that we've started over the last 6 months. We have about 7, I think now, FTEs in the division, but our new program is called Innovate. So Innovate works for the larger commercial interests, and this can be anywhere even outside of NOPEC's footprint. Okay. Some time ago, we realized that NOPEC's aggregation license that were given from the state only went up to a certain point in terms of the number of kilowatt hours consumed by a business. We had businesses coming to us and said, hey, I've been a NOPEC customer for all this time. I've loved being a NOPEC customer. You guys made it so easy for me. Now you're telling me that you're kicking me out of the club. And we say, look, we're sorry, but the state puts this threshold in there, and I'm sorry, but we can't serve you anymore. So we scratched our heads and we said, well, we really need to try to figure out a soft landing place for some of these businesses that grow. They put another wing on the assembly area or something like that. So Innovate was born. We were awarded a license from the Public Utilities Commission. And we have some, absolutely fabulous pricing, not only now for these larger businesses that have grown, but also municipalities themselves. We've managed to find, some cities 6 figures in savings for them, and that's real money for a mid-sized city. So if there are businesses that are in our really anywhere in our state that are more than the mercantile threshold, which is 700,000 kilowatt hours a year, we can serve them, and we have this fabulous pricing. I mean, we've gotten a lot of people that have come to us hand over fist asking for a quote. So,
that's wonderful. And that's good to know. I know we just recently acquired some additional land where we're exploring some diversity in our industry base, and probably the prospects that we're talking about for that would fall in that larger category. So it's good to know that those resources are now there to support them. Yep.
And they are part of NOPEC. Our same value prop applies, our same mission applies. So, nobody works on commission, around us. We don't have private jets or, whatever the biggies do. But we just really love making sure that the communities that we're operating in are really thriving.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, with companies that size, the competitive edge is absolutely necessary. And same for small businesses here within our community. So it's wonderful to see all the resources that you're continuing to offer. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about relative to NOPEC, or is there any other way that businesses can kind of take another look at the resources that you have available?
Well, I think, podcasts like this are wonderful for that purpose. We have a team of economic development folks and certified energy managers on our staff. Call us. Even if you don't wind up doing business with NOPEC, we love talking about these things. We like bouncing ideas off. We've done some of these presentations before. Knowledge is the best friend of a small business. And if we can make it a little bit simpler to describe how a program works, even if it's not our program, but we're familiar with it, we want to be able to try to share knowledge and make people live these, healthy, happy lives in these communities. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me here today on our program. We appreciate it greatly and look forward to continuing to work with you as it relates to energy efficiency and financing opportunities for business here within the community. All of these resources that were discussed today can also be found in the One Stop Business Resource Center, which you can find at beachwoodohio.com. Thank you for joining us today.